everyone. Welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. This is Vitafuser. In our last episode, we found out that Susato is back, and on top of that, we found out why she knows about the Hound of the Baskervilles. Apparently, Susato's father doesn't want us to know about it, so the Hound of the Baskervilles is not only something that Herlock Sholmes doesn't want us to know about, it's also something that Professor Mikatoba doesn't want us to know. It's something big. And we learned a little bit about the professor, and Male Strongheart allowed us to examine the rest of Dr. Hairbrain's machine. We also have to figure out where Enoch Drebber is. It's time for us to head out to the experimentation stage. I had no idea there were so many people in the world. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point. Has it? I shut my brain down, so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo. There you are. I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since last we met. What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Are you, Sunshine, the gentlewoman so loyally at your side? Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right, well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi! Get over here, Gina! That's adorable. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving it a traditional East End training. Gina? She's a police officer now? Amazing, isn't it? He's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. He's got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yup, I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. What do you mean? I'll be in Transford. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London. Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted, then? We'll come to see how you're getting along. Ha, not likely. Well, you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. To France? I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be brought up immediately. But France? It's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? Why would an Englishman want to go to France? That's a very adult world work, Sunshine. I don't go poking your nose where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. You're taking Gina to Paris. Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'd become of her? I suppose he's worried she'd slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purposes. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruhodo. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it? Anyway, I haven't mentioned any others to Gina. So don't go blabbing. You hear me? No, of course not. I keep up that divine diving diva safe and sound. Until all this is over, at least. Oi! Did you just call me a bloomin' diving diva again? So you heard that, did you? Right, well, Any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable detective diva here. Alright, yeah, the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now. I suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. Gina, you've got a new dog, have you? Isn't he great? Toby's his name. Figures. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable. Yup, the dog does seem lovely. But it's the not-so-lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Alright, what do we got here? Gina, we were actually hoping we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like. That's alright, is it? I'm gonna be playing with me new friend here. Toby. The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume? I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. It's like I told Otto yesterday, even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What was it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it? A special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Is that what you're thinking of? That's the one! That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The Forensic something or other? Forensic Investigation Team. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one, yeah. Is it the case that the Special Dispensation Act has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with you. We're still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or others, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something or other. Dr. Strange. Of course, he'd have to be here. Lord Strongheart. That's the one, yeah. Apparently, he's always watching the time or something. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Hey, you what? You met him. Last time the boss was called to go and see him, he waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came back sniveling. Tragic. Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene, as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah, honestly. Alright then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. So you're still saying all this is above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine. That really would be tragic. Alright then, them's the stairs. Off you go. Alrighty, today's trial. It was great, wasn't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying about I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets all in your previous court appearances, didn't you? Well, yeah, and Otto's made things odd for me every single time and all. Just doing my job, Gina. But watching someone else get it in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. You're a sadist. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. It's the boss I feel sorry for. Sent off to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest that other Covani. I ain't time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean. Enoch Drebber. Speaking of... What's this? This dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Yes, possibly. Professor Harebrain mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high-quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. more importantly, it's mere fragrant than the finest perfume. So excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry. I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. Alrighty. That's the one, yeah. So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be. He's putting too much on the boss, if you ask me. He says it's giving him good egg. Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. Alright, engineer's whereabouts. So Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they've had any luck. He's really funny looking. Got two eyes what don't match. Stole a glimpse of the picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry, who? You know, a scowling reaper was always glugging down glasses of that blood-red plunk. Oh, Lord Van Zeeks. He's always had it in for me, that cove. I don't know what he's always scowling about, mind. Probably would have been a pretty good boss as it goes. She'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than a detective's trainee. The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-glugging demigod, you're equally badly off with both. I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Glad we put that one to bed. Anyway, point is, everyone at the yard's dead set on finding the fishy engineer. But there seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. Nothing that can lead us to Drebber at all. I wouldn't exactly say that. Where'd you find that little mutt then, Gina? Oi! Don't be so flaming rude, Odo. Slight overreaction, don't you think? He ain't no mutt, alright. Toby's, how did they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective. That one's horrible. Sorry, I've given him a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you. More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he? Oh, so he's a police dog, is he? The police recruit dogs now? I've heard that they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. Ha! That's nothing compared to this little fella, Odo. Oh, really? According to what the boss said, once Toby has got a good whiff of your drawers, he could change that scent to the other side of the world. Oh boy. He can swim! Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point, by rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Odo, there's going to be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in future. I agree. Right. One of these days, they'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Sorry, Gina. I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby is Britain's first police dog. I found him down the East End the other day. Someone had just chucked him out on the street. There you go. I knew she lifted him from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals. I believe. Time to present. How about this, Gina? Yeah, Aunt. Still lending me letters at the moment. I only know how to eat, so if it ain't too much bleeding trouble. Actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important. How come? There's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all. It turns out this is very high-quality French machine oil. It has a very particular scent, apparently. Yeah, say, let's have a whiff then. You sure? I don't smell muffin. No, we didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right, you mean Toby. His sense of smell is so good he can track people over the oceans, can't he? Professor Harebrain informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Drebber's workshop. Now that you're getting a nice tail massage. I think he's picked it up. If he follows the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to the Dodgy Cove's workshop. That's right, that's exactly what we were hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. When did you... That's a pickpocket. If I can lead everyone to that Drebber's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. I'm sure you'll be promoted. Poor Gregson. Right then, Odo. Leave it to me. We're gonna go get going after that dodgy engineer Cove right this minute. But hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty here at the time. I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets it in the neck, it'll be the boss. Poor Gregson. Ready, Toby? Got that oil scent, have you? Come on then, boy. See you later. I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop. I hope so too. Alright, we are supposedly halfway done with this before the dog swims across the channel to France. Alright. Let's go see what we can find out. Oh my, so this is the machine. That was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place. That's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment. What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrain went in order to obtain the research grant. No, the professor was strict as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It's amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British. You're right about that. You never see such a grand deception in Japan though, that's for sure. I could think of a state that hasn't exactly come into mind yet that this would be very prevalent in, but I don't think I'll go there. Oh look, his hat. Lord Van Zeeks. So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Miss Suzato? He is the Reaper, remember. We do well to keep our distance, I think. We have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as we don't touch anything. From the top. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like. She could have been at the center of the explosion here, and it wouldn't have bent her steel will. Alright, what can we examine first? This wasn't here yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing in before he was apparently beamed through the air. The bird cage. According to what Professor Harebrain said in court, it's made of wood. Nothing to do with Nathan Lane, however. Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction. What did you say, Mr. Naruhodo? I'd understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. They probably brought it back here when they finished their work. Not with the body inside it. Nope, that's right. We were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still, this is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. You might need it for the trial. Alright, here's the machine. Even the steel girders are buckled and twisted in the blast. And what they call the birdcage was right in the middle of it all, right here. The metal grill on the floor looks as though it's designed to open. It's a trapdoor. If the floor had opened at the precise moment that the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? Yeah, there's the horn transmitting. Makes you think, doesn't it? If only it had been just a normal horn, none of this would have happened. Almost exactly what I thought as well. Bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You are going to say... You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan, aren't you? Yes, 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 yes. I would never say something like that. Oh well, it was worth it for the reference. Alright, there he is. Least approachable man in the world winner. 10 years in a row. I don't know. I think he's got some stiff competition for that. Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistants stand firm behind you. Lord Van Zieks? What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate. On the condition we didn't disturb anything. And yet you've managed to disturb me. Ouch. Never mind. State your business, then. Come to think of it. There are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zieks about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this. Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try. So, Clint was the name of your older brother, I understand. Lord Van Zieks? You Nipponese always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So you've been investigating me, have you? No, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zieks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean? Is this something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry, there's more to it then. Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? You're too kind. Are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident? As it happens, Lord Van Zieks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tispel's Museum of Waxwork by any chance? I am, naturally. I believe that since last month I feature in one of the displays there, for public scorn. Of course the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place, and held for ransom. A particular waxwork? Which... Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the Professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak. I was unaware of that. He's turned as white as a sheet. So, this case is heating up. Enoch Drebber. Let's hope this guy doesn't turn into Metatron. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, according to Mr. Professor Hairbrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair and wears a black monocle. So I was just wondering, I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but, we'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow, Susato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man from an investigation 10 years ago. Wow, it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared this with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? What is it about Lord Van Zieks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. And there he is. Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. Are you alright? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? Lord Van Zieks' apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato-san can see it too. Lord Van Zieks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment? With him? Why? Kazuma-sama! Kazuma? I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence, it can only be... It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? I felt something strange this very first time I encountered this cloaked figure. As if I knew him somehow. Can it really be Kazuma? Wait! Too late. What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice, exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago. Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself. His amnesia. Tomorrow, he will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant, Lord Strongheart's orders. He'll be in court with us. Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Yes, thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there. When Susato-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama. You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zeek's office. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. We're gonna need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. Big problems. Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Miss Susato. Of course. Alright, with that, I think we will call it right here, and I will see you guys next time.
Have no doubt, I'm in control. You may think chasing ghosts is